So I am back with a nocturnal video. This is not a usual nocturnal video, but still, I just got done seeing the most recent movie Primate with a buddy of mine. So shout out to Austin for watching Primate with me. And I thought I'd do a spoiler review here. So if you are interested in seeing Primate, please click off the video now because I'm going to ruin this movie for you. All right. So basically, if you've seen the trailers, and I've reacted to the trailer on my channel, if you've seen the trailers, this movie is not nearly as bad as the trailer makes it look, but it's also not as good as people are hyping it up to be. I see a lot of reviewers, a lot of critics saying that it's really good. It's a throwback to a B movie classic kind of era. I'm just not feeling it, man. I am not feeling it. But I'm going to break down the plot real quick and give you all some of my thoughts. So basically, the story revolves around this lady, this girl, young girl named Lucy, who's coming back from college after finals to meet with her family. Her father is deaf, and her father is like this really famous author. And his wife, her mother, was a linguist who adopted a chimpanzee and taught it how to um, communicate with humans. And so basically, uh, she comes back to Hawaii with her family and a couple of her own friends, uh, and basically tries to have a house party with her friends, including one person named Hannah, I believe, who is sort of like a frenemy, who's not exactly entirely friendly to her. And they have a little bit of tension and a little bit of romantic love triangle stuff going on with a guy named Nick, I believe, who is Lucy's friend's brother. A lot of this detail was very confusing, and for the first 30 minutes, it's boring. It's really boring in the first 30 minutes because you're trying to get invested in these characters and you just can't. At least I couldn't. I couldn't find any reason to like these characters. I couldn't find any reason to root for them. They just felt like generic horror movie characters. And it gets worse because they're not exactly smart characters either. As for the chimp, Ben, well, people they advertise this movie as a mystery. What happened to Ben? What's wrong with Ben? Right, the chimp. Why is he lashing out? And there were people that were theorizing what was wrong with them. And you look into incidents of real life chimp attacks from people who own exotic animals, like Travis the chimp. It's horrific, and that's a basis for a good horror movie. But people were like looking into it and being like, okay, well, he might have rabies, and if I mean, there's no way if he had rabies, then how is he still cognitively functioning? Because when you look into what rabies actually is and what it does to an animal or even a human, he doesn't. There's no way he could be cognitive during that endeavor. And so the movie opens up with a text explaining hydrophobia and rabies, basically spoiling to the audience in the first clip that it's rabies. Essentially, there's no mystery. He has rabies. A mongoose breaks into Ben's enclosure, right? And the mongoose came from who knows where, and bites Ben, the chimp, and gives him rabies. Now, I'm under the impression, now I'm no expert, I'm no veterinarian, right? But I'm under the impression that when you get rabies, right, you start foaming at the mouth, which is what the chimp does. But you get disoriented. You basically become a real life zombie, and you start attacking. You start seeing red. There's no cognitive awareness. You're just going at them, right? That didn't happen in this movie, and that leads me to believe that these people don't exactly know what rabies is, and it's like shit. This is just basically a reboot of Old Yeller, but instead the family dies because the chimp kills almost everybody. Um, and they have to put him down, but not with a gun. If they had a gun in this movie, this would be a short, nice, 5-10 minute short film, which is probably what it should have been, to be honest, because it drags on. For an hour and a half movie, this movie is slow. It's very, very slow. And I don't care what anybody says about it being thrilling and spectacular. The only reason that there's any jump scares that are effective is because of the subs blaring in your face from a movie theater. But if you were to sit at home and watch this movie under a blanket, you wouldn't really give a shit. The jump scares would be ineffective because there's no threat, right? There's no sense of like we don't like these characters. We don't think that they're smart. They're all gonna die. We know they're gonna die, so we're not rooting for them. There's no suspense. There's no story. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of meat and substance within the subtext of what's going on, and there's certainly hidden themes underneath. Things like the deaf father not being there for his daughters and then showing up at the end to save them. That's like something that could have been explored more. They didn't do it. The father being deaf as well. There was a moment where he comes back to find the house in shambles after Ben attacked everybody, and I thought for a moment whenever they cut the audio out to give his POV that maybe we were going to get a really good effective jump scare using the deaf silence, and then boom, jump scare, right? They didn't do that. Instead, they went with the route of, oh, he's deaf, so he can't hear somebody screaming in the house. But even so, you can still feel the vibrations. Like, this is a guy who's probably been deaf for a long time, if not his entire life. They don't explain it. But the chimp jumps behind him as he's walking in the house. You have to feel the thud on the ground of a chimp landing behind you. But he doesn't. He just overlooks it. And, there's a moment in there where Ben basically traps these teenagers after he breaks out and kills Rob Delaney, which, fuck Rob Delaney, just cause. And rips his face off, which was funny. But the moment in the trailer where it's like, oh, Ben can't swim, it's not as funny in the movie theater as it would have been if they did not show it in the trailer. And so they jump in the water, and if you remember in the trailer, the pool is near the edge of a cliff because they live in Hawaii, and it's next to this giant drop-off where there's a lot of beach rocks, right? So the pool is nice and fancy, and there's a lookout into the ocean. Well, this leaves a bit of a conundrum. Ben bites the little sister of Lucy and forces all of the characters into the pool. So now they're trapped between a rabid, angry, rageful chimpanzee on the pool side, and basically a giant 100-foot drop off onto beach rocks to certain death, basically. So they're trapped. And you'd think that the whole movie would be about trying to find smart ways to get out of there. But no, it's dumb decision after dumb decision. There's 4 or 5 of these characters, one of them a male, 4 female. They could have done easily something like, okay, one person on this side, one person on this side, and then they teamwork to try and, get out of the pool together. But instead, they swim to the center of the pool trying to get away from Ben while they panic and stop the bleeding of the younger sister who got bit, who's basically got rabies now. Now, I am no expert or veterinarian, but I assume that when you get bit by rabies, you are dead. There is no cure. There is only a bullet to your brain to solve that problem. So, effectively, spoiler warning, she survives. The father gets bit in the leg by Ben as well and infected with rabies. He survives, and everybody just believes that these characters are going to be fine. In fact, they say over and over, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be fine, Aaron. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. It's like, no, this bitch is dead. Like, that's not how rabies works. Rabies kills you, all right? I'm sorry. You can't take her to the hospital after this long. She's going to die. So, this movie does not seem to understand how rabies works. Anyway, Ben, being the angry chimp that he is, and completely losing his mind, goes around the pool side and onto the other side where the drop off is to try and scare the people away. It's like, okay, well, now they have an opportunity to go back to the other side and get out of the pool and escape the wrath of this chimp, but instead, the stupid male character is like, I'm going to push him off the ledge. It's like, are you fucking retarded? So he goes over there with no ground to stand on with his feet. He's kicking underwater and tries to push a chimp off the ledge. And instead, you know what happens? The chimp, with a stronger gravity pull and stronger muscles, pulls this guy out of the pool, throws him off the edge, so he gets dropped on his neck and dies. Like a fucking dumbass that he deserved to die in. Like, bro. And then Ben goes back around to the other side of the pool and they're trapped again. It's like, how do you make stupid decisions like that? It's just, if you had a gun, this movie would not be happening. And of course, they even address that. Is anybody going to shoot this chimp? We're not shooting a family member. They didn't explain anything more than that he was just a pet. They had plenty of time to break down these characters and who they were. Within the first 5 minutes of meeting everybody, I wasn't sure who was who. I didn't know who was a sister to somebody. I didn't know who was a friend to somebody. I didn't know who knew each other. It was so confusing. They did not make it very clear. And now I'm supposed to believe that this chimp is family? Like, how do I know that y'all haven't been abusing this chimp for years, right? And so they did not effectively break down the characters to make you like them or make you root for them. And effectively, they did not start off very strong. You knew that these characters were going to die immediately, so there was no point in getting invested in them. But at the very least, you could have a thrilling, scary animal creature feature. And even for me, I was like, I was bored out of my mind. I was hoping it would be extreme one way or the other. Either extremely good, give me a good throwback to that B movie creature feature style, classic scares. I'm good with that, right? The gruesomeness and the bloodiness and the practical gore were all great. I like that, but the plot didn't make any sense, and it just ruins the movie for me, right? And I thought, well, if it's going to be bad, at least be funny, right? At least be like campy, like Evil Dead or like Barbarian or something, right? Where you have something you can laugh at. I couldn't even laugh at this movie. I was just like, these characters are stupid. They deserve to die. Like, that's just they. How stupid do you have to be, adopting a chimpanzee and then abusing it and then making all these dumb decisions? And ultimately, there was one moment where the deaf dad was out on a book tour and he says that there was no rabies in Hawaii. And that was a moment where I was like, okay, do I have to look this up? So my friend Austin looked it up. Yes, it is true. You can look it up. There are no rabies in Hawaii. All right, that is a factual statement. However, how the fuck does rabies get into a mongoose to get onto the island of Hawaii if there is no rabies in Hawaii? Which led me to believe that it wasn't rabies. But there was no explanation. They just stuck with the fact that it was rabies. And it's like, that's not rabies. That's not how rabies works, right? And if you see the movie, you see that Ben gets stabbed and he supposedly dies, and then he gets back up, and then he falls off a balcony and gets impaled, and then he officially dies in a stupid, cheap, uh, horror movie. Oh, he's not actually dead thing, and then he dies. And then the characters who were bit and had rabies are just like, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be fine, and it feels like it was a wasted opportunity because they had a lot to work with there. They had a lot to work with the characters and who had relationships with who, and how it affects them thematically with Ben and family dynamics, and they just did not explore any of it. They spent the first 30 minutes talking about the teenage drama between like all these kids in college, and them fucking around until the ape breaks out of his enclosure, kills half of them, and then is defeated in a final battle by the deaf guy. And then everything's. I literally just broke down the plot as it is right there. You know, the trailer, it leaves a lot to be desired, but also tells you pretty much everything you need to know, right? This movie was a massive waste of time. I at least wanted to see that if it was really bad, like if it was so bad that I could laugh at it, then I would sit here and say, yeah, go see it. It's goofy, it's funny, it's campy. But no, it's just a fucking bad movie. And it wasn't even that fun to watch. It wasn't surprising. You know, I like my horror movies to be a little bit funny, but also if they're going to be scary, like give me something Twilight Zone. Give me something, you know, Friday the 13th, the series, like a cliffhanger that makes me want to be like, oh man, there's a little bit of ambiguity here, and maybe I can come back for a sequel, or maybe I don't need a sequel. Maybe I like the ambiguity. There wasn't any of that. You know, it was very cut and dry. It was very much just we tell you how it is, it's how it is. And so sometimes that's good, but in this scenario, I don't think it is. And so Primate, you know, not the worst movie. I give it like 2 stars out of 5. Um, but it's certainly not a great movie. And it's not the movie that was advertised, in my opinion. It was not nearly as scary as people lead it on to be. It's not nearly as interesting as it could have been. And if you were looking for laughs, I mean, good luck. The most you're gonna laugh at is seeing two frat boys basically do a home invasion. Two frat boys do a home invasion after getting a fake booty call by the main characters on a prank call. They break into these people's houses and just walk around, you know, drinking their beer, being like, "Oh man, this place is really nice, man. Oh, who has a pet chimp? Oh," and then they die immediately, like dumb frat boys that they are. So the movie's retarded, and aside from being with my friend, uh, I probably am never going to see this movie again. And aside from this review, which is more time than I need to give it, I'm probably never going to think about this movie again. And a year from now, I'm going to be like, oh wow, maybe I did see that movie. Holy shit, I saw that movie a year ago. But anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Did you like Primate? Did you hate Primate? Honestly, bro, I might not ever even talk about this movie ever again. So, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in another video very soon.